Good day, everyone. I'm Gilbert Daoba, your first presenter for today. In today's lesson, we were talking about the transfer of learning. So let's begin. Transfer of learning is an essential concept in education that focuses on how knowledge and skill gained in one situation that can be applied to another. It shows that we learn inside the classroom can help us perform a better in real life situation. As future educators, it is important to understand how learning can be transferred so that students will not only memorize lessons but also use them in meaningfully in their daily lives. Ano nga ba ang transfer of learning? Transfer of learning occurs when the learning in one context helps performance in another. Or it means applying from previously learned knowledge or skill to new situation. Like for example, ako na nag-aral lang magbisikleta is ako na nag-aral magbisikleta natuto mag-balance at in-apply ko yung knowledge ko about pagbibisikleta sa pagmotor. There are four types of transfer of learning. First is positive transfer. So, the positive transfer occurs when the learning in one context improves performance in some other context. Like for example, mas Bateño, find it easier to learn Cebuano or Bisaya language than to English language. Now second is negative transfer. This occurs when learning in one context impacts negatively on performance of another. Like I said before, as Masbateño, since it's easier to learn Minasbaten and Bisaya, English, we find it hard to speak in English accent like matigas yung R, napapalit yung I tsaka E, something like that. And that's the negative transfer. So let's move to near transfer. What's near transfer? Near transfer refers to transfer between similar contexts. It is also referred as specific transfer. For example, a student who learns solve additional problem with whole number can easily apply the same skill to addition with decimal because it both tasks are related closely. No, it in a similar situation apply to the similar problem. Now, as part transfer refers to transfer between contexts that on appearance seem remote and alien to another one, which means occurs when learning situation differs or distant to original one. Like for example, a student to learn critical thinking in a literature class, the same analytical thinking or real life decision making such as evaluating new sources or solving personal problems. The context seems are quite different and it requires abstract thinking and generalization of principle.
Good day everyone, I am Vicente Baruga. So today I will be discussing the first three conditions and principles of transfer of learning. So these factors help us understand when and how students can apply what they have learned into the new situations. So first, similarity between two learning situations. So based on the table, the more similar the two situations are, the greater the chance that learning from one situation will be transferred to another. So for example, if a student learns how to solve word problems in math using addition, it's easier for them to solve real life problems like budgeting money or adding expenses because both situations are similar. So in implication, as teachers, we should involve students in learning situations and tasks that are similar to the ones they will face in real life or in future lessons. So this helps make the transfer of learning easier and more natural. So second, degree of meaningfulness or relevance of learning. So this principle means that meaningful learning leads to greater transfer than memorized learning. When students truly understand what they learn, they can use it in other situations. Like, halimbawa, if the students understand kung ano kay kailangan sa mga halaman mainitan, mas madali niya maia-apply when he is gardening or mahilig siya sa mga halaman. And for the implication, teachers should relate lessons to students' real-life experiences to make learning more meaningful and easier to remember. Third, length of instructional time. So the longer the time spent on learning, the higher the chance that students will retain and transfer the knowledge. So halimbawa, if students spend more time practicing how to speak in front of the class, they become more confident and can easily apply those speaking skills during school events or community presentations. And in implications, teachers should allow enough time for students to understand and master a topic instead of rushing through many lessons.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Minisa Maybe Bejo, and I will discuss the conditions, factors affecting transfer of learning. The first example is variety of learning experiences. So the variety of learning experiences have a principle of transfer and implications. The principle of transfer exposure to many and varied examples and opportunities for practice encourages transfer, while the implications illustrate new concepts and principles with a variety of examples, plan activities that allow your learners to practice their newly learned skills. The second example is context for learners' experiences. So the context of learner experiences have a principle of transfer and implications. So the principle of transfer is a transfer of learning is most likely to happen when learners discover that what they learned is applicable to various contexts. The implications relate a topic in one subject to topics in other subjects or disciplines. Overall, the variety of learning experiences is seeing different examples and practicing a lot makes it easier to use what you learn in new situations. This means teachers should use lots of examples and give students chances to practice. The second one is context for learners' experiences, which means learning is more likely to transfer if you can see how it applies in different situations. So it's important to connect what you learn in one subject to other subject.